Miss Cheryl Ladd.
Long walk. Our next honoree is recognized for resolve. More than 20 years ago, someone came to a young criminologist with an idea for an innovative program to rehabilitate repeat offenders and drug addicts. It was to be named Delancey Street. The criminologist agreed to help. And 20 years later, the co-founder of Delancey Street, Mimi Silbert, is still there.
On a San Francisco hilltop, a foundation board is discussing a real estate project. The members of this board have an unusual collection of backgrounds.
Were you in California or only in Washington? California,
I was in California too. I was in San Quentin, Folsom.
This is Mimi Silbert and the board of Delancey Street, a unique and self-supporting rehabilitation program for criminals and drug addicts. Mimi is the co-founder of Delancey Street, and she's the only one in the room without a criminal record. Delancey Street's name comes from the New York neighborhood where thousands of immigrants at the turn of the century gathered on their first step toward pursuing the American dream. This Delancey Street harbors people who are moving from a world of despair to a world of hope.
We have people coming in who have really committed horrible crimes. What matters is that you're willing to say, I take responsibility. I did it. I screwed up my life. I hurt other people, and I want to change. And please help me.
Mimi's way of helping surprises newcomers.
They wanted me to jump into the trash, sweep the floor, serve people. I mean, all this. And I'm like, you gotta be mad. I'll go back to jail before I do this. I don't need this. Don't they know who I am?
I don't think anybody really wants to change initially. But that's because I don't think they can.
The first step toward change is getting down to work. At Delancey Street, people who've never held an honest job learn 3 trades, and they all have at least a high school equivalency diploma before they're finished here. Delancey Street serves 850 residents nationwide. Most residents stay at least 2 years. The average stay is 4 years, and some stay as long as 10 years.
We set it up with no staff and no experts, and aside from me, everyone in the entire organization is a resident who would be a patient in someone else's program, and they are all responsible for making the place run and for helping one another and pulling each other. So if you're there 8 months, you're in charge of someone who's there 4 months, and they're in charge of someone who's there 2 months.
So you get a chance to actually believe that you could do something different other than running the streets and, jail and dope and all that.
Working in Delancey Street's business enterprises, residents gain work experience, and profits from the businesses support the program, which receives no government funds.
I always thought a job was square. The work, an honest job, it was like it was for squares. Gangsters didn't do that. That's where I thought I was. Now I know how to work. I never knew how to work before. And now I see why people have jobs for 30 years. Because they know they had conditioned themselves to work. They have fun working.
With its unparalleled record of successful rehabilitations, Delancey Street needed room to expand. When they decided to build a new headquarters from the ground up, they faced the biggest challenge ever to their faith in themselves. Mimi believed in them, but how could she convince the banks?
Not easily. I want to tell you, we talked to several banks, and finally the Bank of America really just believed in what we were doing.
Based upon our assessment and good feeling of Mimi and her character, it was easier to make a loan than not to.
We went out of our way to make not just a nice building, but a gorgeous building. And it's like a physical symbol of everything we've been trying to fight for.
These surroundings give the residents something to live up to. Mimi says that if you dress like a decent person, act like a decent person, and treat yourself like one long enough, you'll find that you are one. In a field where failure is the norm, Mimi Silbert's resolve has turned a good idea into a program that has worked wonders for thousands of graduates.
The whole point of Delancey Street is that ordinary people, matter of fact, less than ordinary people, our people truly are the losers of this society, can, if they pool their resources, if they're structured and disciplined and taught, and then motivated and believed in, can do extraordinary things.
Ladies and gentlemen, to present the award, Childhelp Ambassador, Mr. Efrem Zimbalist Jr.
Delancey Street graduates have found the will to change and the resolve to stay with their new life. When they needed an example of resolve, they didn't have far to look. And when I learned of the achievements of this extraordinary lady, neither did I. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Mimi Silbert.
How fitting it is for those of us at Delancey Street to be able to receive this remarkable award from the FBI itself. I am, needless to say, incredibly grateful and actually very humbled to be among these 6 inspiring honorees. I truly accept this award on behalf of the thousands of residents and graduates of the Delancey Street Foundation who have, over the last 20 years, not only rebuilt their own lives so that they are drug-free and crime-free, productive members of our society, but so much more importantly, they are the people who have built this organization with no outside funding, with no experts, with only caring for one another, teaching each other when they were so afraid themselves that they knew nothing, reaching out and helping each other when in fact they themselves felt that they had no caring left. It is a tremendous act of courage when you really have hit bottom and all you know is to give up, to take that leap of faith and reach out so that other people can have a dream. And that really is what Delancey Street is about, and that in fact is what America is about. And our extended family is odd looking. We're all shapes, we're all sizes, all colors, we're large, we have our noses pushed in. But we really have come together in an incredible spirit of saying that hard work and mutual support and going beyond yourself in fact makes everybody somebody and makes the most impossible dreams come true. If I weren't so clumsy as you saw those chubby little legs kicking, I would try to hand this over. I can't, and so symbolically, I'd like to. My mom, David, Greg, my 2 sons, and the residents of Delancey Street, please stand. This award is yours. Thank you so very, 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 very much.
Ladies and gentlemen,